Why does getting what you want never make you happy? Why does every achievement feel empty the moment you reach it? There's a force inside you. Blind, relentless, never satisfied. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer called it the will, and understanding it might be the key to finally finding peace.
You know that feeling when you're sitting on that park bench at 4:23 p.m., watching the first drops of rain hit the concrete, clutching your phone like it might deliver the news that won't come today? The air smells like wet asphalt and regret. Your fingers go numb scrolling through old messages from Sarah, the friend who used to text you daily until that argument 3 months ago. Your jaw clenches as you type and delete the same apology 17 times. The rain starts harder. You stay frozen, paralyzed between pride and longing, watching strangers hurry past with umbrellas you forgot to bring. Picture yourself at 4:17 a.m., wide awake in bed, staring at the ceiling before your alarm screams. Tomorrow, today now, you're photographing the Henderson kids' 7th birthday party. Harsh morning sun bleeds through your blinds, casting prison bar shadows across your chest. The metallic taste of anxiety coats your tongue. Your mentor's last email echoes, "Your work lacks soul lately." 23 screaming children. Balloon animals. Forced smiles. Your camera feels like a weight you can't lift. Your breathing shallows as you imagine disappointing him again, watching his faith in you crumble like stale birthday cake. Imagine the dentist's drill whirring 5 minutes before the contract deadline, your mouth propped open, unable to speak while your phone buzzes with your boss's final call. The antiseptic sting fills your nostrils. Your palms slick with sweat against the vinyl chair. Drive. Martinez apologizes for running late, but the damage is done. Your boss, the one who hired you fresh out of college, who believed in your potential, will sign with the competitor. Your spine goes rigid as the drill starts again. You can't even scream your frustration. 3 moments. 3 flavors of the same poison. What connects the paralyzed texter, the anxious photographer, and the silenced professional? Arthur Schopenhauer would recognize the culprit immediately: the will, that blind, relentless force driving every human action, every desire, every source of our suffering. This isn't about willpower or determination. This is about the unconscious engine that makes you refresh your phone obsessively, chase approval desperately, and panic when control slips away. The will doesn't care about your happiness. It only wants. And wanting, Schopenhauer realized, is the root of all human misery. What if the anxiety you feel isn't a personal failing, but the inevitable result of being human? What if there's a way to step back and observe this force, rather than be consumed by it? That fear you just felt? It is costing you more than you realize. Arthur Schopenhauer called it the will, this blind, relentless force that drives us toward what we think we want, only to leave us empty when we get it. It's not just desire. It's the engine of suffering itself, pushing us from one craving to the next, never satisfied, never at peace. The will convinces us that the next achievement, the next relationship, the next purchase will finally fill the void. But it won't. It can't. Because the void isn't a problem to solve, it's the human condition. Here's what happens when we don't recognize this force operating in our lives. You're wedged into seat 14B at 2:17 p.m., your brother texting about mom's funeral arrangements while you pretend to sleep. The recycled air tastes metallic. Your palms stick to the armrest as turbulence hits. 3 months since Sarah said she needed space, and you still check her Instagram at cruising altitude. The will whispers that maybe if you'd been different, tried harder, wanted her less desperately. Your spine curves inward. The businessman next to you orders another whiskey. You want what he's having, anything to quiet the wanting itself. The blue screen glow cuts through your home office at 11:43 p.m. as parents discuss their children's progress on the video call. Motor oil and concrete drift through your cracked window from the street below. Your throat constricts as Mrs. Patterson praises her daughter's acceptance to medical school, the path you abandoned 15 years ago today. The anniversary you never mention. Your fingers drum against the desk. The will reminds you of every door you didn't walk through, every version of yourself you failed to become. The call ends. The silence presses like weight. Factory noise pounds at 3:18 a.m. as you stack boxes, replaying Tuesday's conversation with Emma. The overhead strip lights buzz against your temples. Sawdust and sweat hang in the air. Your shoulders rise toward your ears, remembering her laugh, the one that used to be yours. 2 years since the divorce, and the will still reaches for what's gone. It promises that if you could just say the right words, time would reverse. Your hands ball into fists. The conveyor belt keeps moving. The wanting doesn't stop. This philosopher understood, we suffer not because life is hard, but because we keep chasing what can never satisfy us. The will costs us sleep, relationships, peace. Every day we don't see it clearly, it tightens its grip. The good news? Recognition is the first step toward freedom. So why do we do this to ourselves? The answer lies in a fundamental misunderstanding. You know that feeling when you're sorting through polyester blazers at the thrift store on a Tuesday at 2:17 p.m., 3 hours before picking up the kids from your ex? The strip mall lighting casts everything in pale yellow, and the air smells like old fabric softener and someone else's perfume. Your spine goes rigid as you realize you're looking for something to wear to that job interview, the side hustle that might finally give you independence. But your hands tremble slightly as you flip through the hangers, because deep down, you know this isn't about the blazer. It's about the gnawing need to prove something, to fill some void that keeps expanding no matter what you feed it. Think back to last Sunday morning at the farmer's market, golden hour light filtering through the canvas tents. You're buying organic apples while your teenage daughter stands 3 feet away, earbuds in, physically present but emotionally gone. Your throat constricts as you watch her pull further into her own world. The vendor's voice sounds distant as Sunday evening dread creeps in, that familiar ache that Monday will bring more of this distance, more of trying to connect with someone who used to need you. Your belly goes hollow because you finally understand, you're not just losing her. You're losing the version of yourself that existed through being needed. Or that moment in the DMV line that's been delayed indefinitely, no information, just waiting. The overhead lights hum while you think about Marcus, your employee who shows up late, misses deadlines, but whose wife just had surgery. Your jaw clenches because you know what needs to happen, but you can't bring yourself to do it. The antiseptic smell mixes with anxiety sweat as you realize this isn't compassion, it's your own inability to face conflict, disguised as kindness. Arthur Schopenhauer called this force the will, the blind, relentless drive that pushes us forward even when it causes suffering. We mistake our desires for our identity. We think satisfying them will bring peace, but each fulfilled one only reveals the next emptiness. The blazer won't make you worthy. Your daughter's independence isn't rejection. Avoiding difficult decisions doesn't make you kind. The mechanism is simple: we suffer because we're slaves to wanting, and we don't even realize we're enslaved. But recognition is the first step toward freedom. Now that we understand where this wisdom comes from, let us break down exactly how it works. The will operates through 3 distinct mechanisms. First, it creates endless wanting. Second, it disguises suffering as purpose. Third, it offers the illusion that the next achievement will finally bring peace. You know that feeling when you're standing on the subway platform at 11:43 p.m., the last train before your divorce papers get signed tomorrow? The harsh white ceiling lights buzz overhead, casting everything in clinical brightness. Your partner of 23 years stands 3 feet away, scrolling their phone like you're strangers. The metallic taste of finality coats your tongue. Your spine goes rigid as the train approaches. This is the will in action, that desperate urge to say something, anything, to fix what cannot be fixed. But Schopenhauer would recognize this compulsion. You're being driven by a blind force that promises salvation through one more conversation, one more attempt. Here's the first technique: will recognition. The moment you feel that desperate urge to act, pause and ask, what desire is driving me right now? Consider this: it's 6:17 a.m. in your kitchen, wedding anniversary morning that feels hollow as a drum. Your aging father sits at the table, staring at you with confused eyes. Sometimes he knows you, sometimes you're a stranger. The air smells like burnt coffee and unspoken grief. Equals your palms slick with sweat as you try to explain who you are again. The will whispers, get the promotion, make more money, fix this somehow. But recognition reveals the truth. No external achievement can heal the ache of watching someone you love disappear. The second technique, desire examination. Will satisfying this craving bring peace, or just create the next craving? Picture yourself at 2:33 p.m. in that corner coffee shop table, natural daylight soft through windows. You're remembering yourself at 19, so certain about the future. The air carries hints of cinnamon and rain-soaked streets. Your jaw clenches as you realize the storm you've been sensing is finally here. The layoffs, the diagnosis, the call you've been dreading. Your younger self believed success would solve everything. Now you understand, the will doesn't want you happy. It wants you wanting. The third technique, aesthetic escape. Find moments where desire temporarily ceases, where you're absorbed in something beautiful beyond yourself. Transformation begins when you stop feeding the will's endless hunger and start recognizing its voice. Equals here is where everything shifts. This is not just a technique, it is a complete transformation. You know that feeling when you're sitting at your dining table at 11:23 p.m., bills scattered like accusations under the dim lamplight, 17 minutes before the moving trucks arrive? Your friend calls, the one who's become someone you barely recognize, all sharp edges and bitter complaints. Your spine goes rigid as they criticize your choices again. The air smells like cardboard and endings. Your knuckles whiten gripping the phone. Before understanding the will, you absorb their poison, let it twist in your gut like a blade. But now you see what Arthur Schopenhauer revealed. This is the will operating through them, blind, hungry, desperate. Their cruelty isn't personal, it's the universe's suffering expressing itself. Your shoulders begin to drop. The bills are still there, the friend's still toxic, but you're no longer their victim. You're witnessing the will's machinery, and that recognition creates space between you and the pain. Think back to that Tuesday at 4:47 p.m. in the teacher's lounge, the coffee machine humming, overhead lights casting everything in institutional pallor. You're grading papers when the substitute walks in, a stranger whose laugh sounds exactly like your ex-partner's. Your chest compresses. The commute home stretches ahead, but you almost don't want to go, don't want to face the empty apartment. Before, you'd spiral into the familiar ache of longing. Equals, but understanding the will changes everything. You recognize this isn't about the substitute or your ex, it's the will creating phantom connections, manufacturing suffering from shadows. The longing doesn't vanish, but you stop feeding it. Your breathing steadies. You see the will's tricks clearly now, and in that seeing, find freedom. Picture your bedroom at 3:17 a.m. on your birthday, the first one you've spent alone. Your cat purrs against your ribs, but sleep won't come. The silence presses down like weight. You think about Marcus, the friend you wronged years ago, the apology you never gave. Your temples pulse with regret. Before this understanding, you'd torture yourself with what-ifs, let guilt gnaw at your bones until dawn. But Schopenhauer's insight cuts through the darkness. This suffering is the will consuming itself. The regret, the isolation, the birthday blues, all manifestations of the same blind force. You don't stop feeling, but you stop being enslaved by feeling. Your jaw unclenches slightly. The transformation isn't escape from pain, it's recognition that pain is not your master. Equals understanding the shift is one thing. Here is how you practice it, starting today. You know that feeling when you're standing in the frozen foods aisle at 11:23 p.m. on Christmas Eve, the harsh white ceiling lights buzzing overhead, and you realize you've been unemployed for 3 months? The air smells like freezer burn and desperation. Your palms slick with sweat as you calculate whether you can afford the generic turkey. Fear sits beside you in that cart, whispering about January rent. Your spine goes rigid. This is where you practice will recognition, that moment when you catch the blind desire for security driving every panicked thought. You pause. Breathe. Ask, what is this wanting really about? The technique is simple. When anxiety spikes, don't fight it. Study it. What does this craving want? Safety? Control? Love? Name the will operating beneath the surface. Week 1 feels impossible. Week 2, You catch it faster. By month 1, you see the pattern before it owns you. There you are in your backyard at 6:47 p.m., dusk painting everything purple, holding the phone after your estranged sister called about dad's diagnosis. The grass feels cold through your shoes. Your jaw clenches so tight your molars ache. Government forms scattered on the patio table, insurance, power of attorney, things you never wanted to understand. The will to fix everything, to control outcomes, to make this not be happening churns in your gut. This is desire examination in action. You ask, will satisfying this need to manage everything bring peace, or just the next desperate want? Practice this daily. Before acting on any strong impulse, pause. Ask, is this solving the problem or feeding the endless hunger? Most desires, when examined, reveal themselves as distractions from what we cannot change. Picture yourself at the beach in February, volunteering for the cleanup, wind cutting through your jacket. The mail sits unopened in your car, test results you've been avoiding for 2 weeks. You catch your reflection in the car window, cataloging every flaw, every failure. Your shoulders rise toward your ears. The will to be perfect, to be worthy, to deserve good news gnaws at you. But here's what this philosopher understood: suffering isn't caused by what happens. It's caused by the relentless wanting for things to be different. Compassion practice starts here. Treat yourself like you would a friend facing the same moment. Others have stood where you stand. The separation between your pain and theirs is an illusion. Start today. When the wanting becomes overwhelming, recognize it. Examine it. Extend the same mercy to yourself that you'd give anyone else struggling. The transformation happens not in the big moments, but in these small acts of conscious recognition, one breath at a time. Once you have practiced these techniques, the next step is weaving them into daily life. You know that feeling when you're standing in a gas station at 2:17 a.m. the night before surgery, buying instant ramen because you can't sleep? The neon sign bleeds orange light through the window. Your coworker, the one who got the promotion you deserved, texts asking if you need anything. Your fingers go numb holding the phone. The air smells like motor oil and desperation. This is where the practice lives. Not in perfect moments, but here, when your spine goes rigid with resentment. You recognize the will operating, that blind force demanding fairness, recognition, vindication. Instead of feeding it, you breathe. The desire for revenge doesn't vanish. It transforms into something you can hold without being consumed. 3 hours later, you're in your basement storage unit at 3:44 a.m., sorting through boxes of financial documents after another nightmare about debt. The single bare bulb swings overhead. Your ex-business partner's signature stares back from a contract, the one who cheated you 5 years ago. Your jaw clenches so tight your molars ache. The musty smell of cardboard and regret fills the space. Here's where desire examination becomes real. What does wanting revenge actually give you? More sleepless nights. More boxes of bitterness. You practice will recognition, seeing how the craving for justice keeps you chained to the past. The anger remains, but gradually, bit by bit, it loses its grip on your breathing. Morning arrives differently now. It's 7:23 a.m. at the unemployment office, first day after everything changed. You're holding your newborn while filling out paperwork, feeling nothing like the movies promised. The harsh white ceiling lights hum above. Coffee and anxiety mix in the recycled air. Your shoulders sag with exhaustion. Other parents smile at your baby, and you force a smile back, guilt rising like bile. This is compassion practice in action, recognizing that every person here carries invisible weight. The mother beside you bounces her toddler with practiced patience. The clerk processes forms with quiet dignity. You're all suffering differently, but suffering nonetheless. The detachment from your child doesn't disappear, but shame about it begins to soften. You're learning to hold paradox, loving imperfectly while still loving. By evening, integration feels less like achievement and more like ongoing choice. This is not perfection, it is direction. Let us bring this full circle. Remember where we started? You were trapped in cycles of wanting, suffering when you got what you desired, suffering when you didn't. 8 parts ago, you discovered that the very force driving your discontent, the will, could become your teacher. You're sitting in the salon chair at 12:47 p.m., lunch break almost over, watching your reflection while she cuts your hair. Your new romantic interest texts again, the third message this morning. Before, you would have analyzed every word, crafted the perfect response, fed the hungry ghost of need. Now, your fingers rest still on your phone. The metallic taste of old anxiety touches your tongue, but you recognize it. This is will recognition in action, seeing the blind force that once controlled you. You breathe. The scissors snip. You choose presence over performance. The City Hall permit counter stretches before you at 9:23 a.m., the morning everything changes. Your spouse stands beside you, and the betrayal sits between you like a third person. The harsh morning sun through institutional windows cuts across both your faces. Before this journey, you would have been consumed by rage, by the need to control their remorse, to force an outcome. Now your spine straightens with something deeper. Compassion practice has taught you that they suffer too, trapped in their own will, their own blind wanting. The forms need signatures. Your hand moves steady. This is what choosing your response looks like. It's 5:33 a.m. in your living room, family gathering later today, and you're alone with thoughts that used to devour you. Your neighbor, the one whose eyes you've avoided since that incident last spring, will be there. Your chest would have compressed with dread before. Now you feel the familiar tightness, acknowledge it, and something shifts. Arthur Schopenhauer knew that suffering shared becomes compassion. You practice aesthetic escape, letting the dawn light through your curtains become art, suspending the will's demands just long enough to remember, you are not your wanting. If this opens something in you, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Share this with someone ready to hear it. Drop a comment, what insight hit you hardest? Watch the video appearing on screen now. Your transformation starts not tomorrow, right now, in this breath, in this choice.